Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is out at the box office, but did moviegoers say bustin' makes me feel good? And how much bustin' is it going to take to make this movie make money? We'll tell you all that and more. We're talking Dune Part 2 right now. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a joy to have you here with us as we continue to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. One quick programming note, folks, before we get started. Make sure to check out Valiant Renegade Online. Today, if you're watching this video on a Sunday, watch the show at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Valiant is going to do a huge breakdown of everything to do with the box office. It is the best box office breakdown on the web, flat out. But let's dive into just Ghostbusters and Dune Part 2 for a moment, folks, and you're going to come away much smarter today than you were yesterday when it comes to how movies perform. This is an article by Anthony D'Alessandro out of Deadline. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire still looking to bust between $42 and $44 million for its opening. And I would say, folks, that's due to very strong goodwill and nostalgia for this franchise. Folks want a good Ghostbusters movie, myself included. I love the original Ghostbusters, and I would say that the original Ghostbusters film and even Ghostbusters 2 are so good, so wonderful, so amazing that 40 years later, we are still searching to find that magic that was in the performances we saw with those original Ghostbusters. There are so many wonderful, amazing, tremendous lines. We're still wanting to go back to that time. And I can't blame us. But finding magic twice, getting that lightning to strike twice, very difficult to do. Here's the article. Despite marshmallow weather in the Northeast, by the way, the weather had no impact. Zero impact. Don't listen to anybody who says the weather's having an impact. And a B-plus cinema score. Sony's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is expected to still reach an opening between $42 and $44 million this weekend after a $16 million Friday. Remember goodwill, folks. $16 million on a Friday. That's a lot of people really wanting this to do well. Premium formats and some of the IMAX are accounting for 36% of the box office right now. Frozen Empire, which cost more than Ghostbusters Afterlife, $100 million to $75 million before P&A, is co-financed by TSG. Now, we're going to stop there because I need to show you something. This is really important for those of you out there who want to understand the box office and how the money works. Take a look at that. 42 to 44 million and 36% of it coming from IMAX and premium formats. Let's go down now. Here's what it matters for. Dune Part 2. Remember how excellent Dune Part 2 has been doing? Dune Part 2 still a very respectable, down 44%. Friday to Friday from the week prior, but still down to $16 million on its 3-day now expected. So that's the same amount that Ghostbusters made on its Friday and Thursday previews. They don't say that, but that's the same amount for the entire weekend of Dune Part 2. Now, how did it drop down to 16 million? Still, folks, a respectable 44% drop. Well, the way that it dropped is because it had to give up those premium format screens, in large part to Ghostbusters. And so Ghostbusters took that. The real drop for Dune Part 2 then is going to be as it takes on Kong and Godzilla next week. That's when the drop happens. And so whatever Dune Part 2 is going to do to try to get to profitability, this is the weekend it had to do it. We'll have final numbers on this coming out Tuesday. But again, check out the Valiant Renegade show Sunday evening, because this will be something that we look into greatly, is where did Dune Part 2 land? Because it's coming to that point now where it's basically done. Where did Dune Part 2 land, and did it make money? Kung Fu Panda, 54% drop again, being knocked out because Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I think, is skewing a little bit towards families. Let's keep reading now. By the way, that B-plus cinema score is the same grade as the all-female 2016 Ghostbusters. This should be a wake-up call for Sony on the goody-goody family nature tone of this franchise and its longevity moving forward. More on that later. Now, this is Anthony D'Alessandro's attempt, in my estimation, to try to get some virtue points here. The reason that this film is getting a B-plus cinema score is probably because it has far too many convoluted B stories in it. This is... Many have said, I'll say this, I heard this on Film Threat, and I heard this on some other places too. and I thought it was absolutely perfectly worded. So I'm not going to take credit for this, but it's like an entire streaming show, right? It's like Stranger Things, where you have 8 episodes, and they decided to turn this into a movie. There are too many threads, too many stories. But in terms of likability, I don't sense that there are people out there who are coming away from this film disliking the characters. It's just there's too much stuff going on with too little payoff, and it needed more of that intellectual, dry humor wit that made the Ghostbusters, uh, by and large, so wonderful. You might even say that wit was writ large responsible for the success of Ghostbusters. There's a little alliteration for you. But when it comes to the 2016 Ghostbusters film, that was just panned. That was just absolutely panned because of the performances. So while the cinema score might be the same, and you could draw some sort of comparison from that, the reasons for the cinema score are categorically different. So you really can't go forward with a movie when your cinema score drops due to people not liking your characters. But if you have a script that was convoluted, you can go forward with a third movie because people actually care about and want to like your characters. I mean, I can't find anybody who says, "Oh, I hate Paul Rudd playing a science teacher." They just want Paul Rudd to have more to do as a science teacher. It goes on to talk about the weather. The weather has no impact on this. Overall, the box office with $97.6 million is expected to be off 17% from the same weekend a year ago, as when Lionsgate had John Wick Chapter 4 out. Of course, I say that was one of the absolute best action films of all time. John Wick Chapter 4, a piece of true art. Now, here's what really matters, though, folks. Let's go to thenumbers.com. And here on thenumbers.com, what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for the budget. Okay, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire 2024. And what do we see on the budget? Well, right here under production budget, we see that this film allegedly cost $100 million for production, $100 million to make this thing. That's up from $75 million for Afterlife. Now, at $100 million, what does this film need to make back a profit? Well, let's assume that there was a very modest marketing campaign. And you might say, well, Pro, that's not fair, because usually here on this channel, you, as well as your companion Valiant Renegade, you guys say that this is a one-to-one advertising to production spend. In this case, though, folks, I'm going to make an exception, and I'm not doing that to give this movie a better opportunity to succeed. I'm doing that because I watched the marketing, and I saw there was very little. In fact, the marketing that I saw was trailers and interviews. But in terms of going beyond that with any kind of major marketing, I mean, they put some ice outside the actual firehouse in New York. I mean, you're talking about some modest marketing on this. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if Sony got cold feet, pun intended, but something somewhere caused them to not spend as much on marketing. Now, that's my observation. I can't say that definitively, but I'm willing to bet that this thing came in at about 50 to 75 million on marketing, which is significantly less than one might anticipate for a film such as this. That's going to put it at about let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's say that they spent only $50 million on marketing. That would put it at $150 million total. That would put it at $300 million. And even if you want to step it up, let's give it a range: $300 to $350 million at the box office is what this needs. Now, what do we anticipate that it's going to do? That's what we need to know, right? So on the anticipation, it's looking like it's going to score $42 to $44 million domestic. Let's be extraordinarily kind and say that it needs to get to, let's say that it's going to get that amount back internationally. If it does so, it's going to tickle 100. So it's going to come in around $80 to $100 million worldwide, which I think that's pretty generous. And even with that generosity, the film is going to need to have a 3x hold, a 3x hold, while going up against Dune Part 2, Godzilla versus Kong, and all of that. So it has its work cut out for it. This is going to be a tough one to break even at the box office. However, streaming service deals may cause it to be a profit, but I think this does put a damper on a third one. And I'm sad to say that. I want a third one. I gave this a 4.5 out of 10. I don't think it's a great Ghostbusters film. I think it has its moments. I think it has its lows. I think, unfortunately, it's just there are too many parts of this movie that are just dull, and there's some bad casting choices. All of that said, I love the Ghostbusters franchise. I want another Ghostbusters movie. I want another swing at this, and I hope they'll get it right. But this does put a damper on it. It's not as bad. It's not a worst case scenario, but it's going to have a heck of a performance at the box office, considering where it's at, and with that cinema score, going to be tough. Is that to say that I don't like the Ghostbusters or that I'm hating on them? No, I pretty much love everybody involved in this movie, with a couple of exceptions that I bet you out there listening could figure out. But for the most part, I love everybody involved in this. I want them to succeed. So, but balls and strikes is what we have to do here each and every time we do one of these videos. So that's where we're at. Again, folks, check out Renegade Online. We'll be breaking down the entire box office in high fidelity for you so that you understand exactly what's going on in entertainment. And why do we care? Why do we do all of this, folks? Well, of course, because entertainment shows us where culture is going, because it shows us what people are interested in, the values of the day. All right, folks, we hope you had a wonderful time with this video, got a little bit smart, a little bit more intellectual when it comes to busting ghosts and busting that box office. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts, and feel free to disagree anywhere you think it is apropos. We are firm believers in freedom of speech here, so give us your free discourse and dialogue down below. Tell me where I'm right, tell me where I'm wrong on Ghostbusters. Folks, that's it for today. Have a great one. Enjoy your weekend, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Wilton, what are you doing?
Well, I was feeling really behind and uneducated on all the happenings in the entertainment world. So, I was trying to work out a solution, specifically around 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And, well, this is what I came to.
That's not what that means.
Oh.
But, why wouldn't you just watch Midnight's Edge on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? And on Tuesdays, on WDW Pro's channel, you got the Pro Show, and on Thursdays, you got That Park Place with Journos and Vash.
Journos? That guy sucks.
Well, feel free to jump in the chat and remind him of that regularly.
I won't feel free. I am free, baby. But I think you forgot something important.
What's that?
On Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, there's something really special that happens on Floral from Under a Rock.
Ah, right.
Under a Rock, where we don't simply talk about entertainment. We actually try to be the entertainment. Which, I mean, Floral, you're actually kind of dragging the show down, you know what I mean?
Well, theoretically, you and everyone else knows now what's happening at 12 Eastern Time throughout the week.
Yep. Now, just a point of clarity. You say 12 p.m. Eastern Time that the Midnight's Edge will be happening. Is Tom gonna commit to being on time?
Well, that's a fair question.
Okay.